Hey everyone, this is CMG Utopia. This is the second episode of DarkMatch. I am here with Magpie.
How's it going, you lovely audience?
Backlash.
Hello out there out in internet land.
And Mr. War Machine.
What's up?
Alright, first let's get to Raw because I know there's a lot of stuff that happened there, especially like the ending. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it.
It was conflicting, but at the same time I see what they're going for, and I know it's not going to have a complete follow-through. So I didn't have that much issue with it, and the main event was good enough, so I was like, oh, awesome, I don't even care what happens at the ending.
Yeah, I think the one thing that a lot of people are saying is that, yeah, Jerry Lawler pretty much does deserve a WWE title run, but he's not going to get one. And honestly, it probably should have happened at least 20 years ago.
Yeah, obviously they're not going to give Jerry Lawler the moment now. I think what they're going to try to go for is have it be Miz versus, it's going to be Miz versus the King at Elimination Chamber, and during the match, Michael Cole's going to rush in there and cost King the match, and then it's going to lead up to a WrestleMania match between King and Cole, so King can finally have his moment of, it's just a payoff of we get to see Michael Cole get beat up, King has a WrestleMania moment. Everybody wins.
Yeah, but at the same time, you think like after WrestleMania, you think he's going to actually officially retire? And if he does, who are they going to substitute for him?
I think they're going
Nash.
to Nash.
Really? Well, okay, I think Nash can do the commentating, but I don't know if he would be able to call the moves. I like to give him credit because he is a wrestler, but at the same time, WWE's main focus isn't calling the moves, so he can get by.
Yeah, but at the same time, everybody was loving how him and Booker T were doing commentary when they were going back on TNA.
That was great.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about in terms of like being able to call the moves, like European uppercut, that was a fisherman soup, like things like that. But like I said, WWE does mainly focus on that, so he wouldn't have to worry about that. So he could just get by personality wise.
I'd say they should at least give him a chance. Like if he can do a good job, maybe keep him around.
We know he'll at least be funny.
I just remember that one episode of WCW where he even said, like, they didn't like me as a booker, so I booked myself in the best angle. I'm retired, but now I'm on commentary. And he just proceeded to Mystery Science Theater that whole show.
Well,
Bill Goldberg, a man who cannot touch Sid Vicious or he shall lose his title shot.
Well, at the time he was booking, you could totally get away with doing Mystery Science Theater thing, so it fitted well. Although it made him look like an idiot because you're making fun of the stuff you put together.
Well, if you can't make fun of yourself, you can't make fun of others.
Good point. Alright, so let's get down to the rest of Raw. The Raw started out with the Del Rio coming out, and then did anyone notice that Del Rio's personal announcer, his voice sounded really strained that night?
Yeah, that was probably from the Royal Rumble where at the end of the night he was just screaming, Del Rio! Del Rio! Del Rio!
Yeah.
The way they did his entrance first is like they brought out like the celebration with like the mariachi band and whatever, which I thought was like pretty cool. Because apparently that night, like he was supposed to say like who he was going to fight at WrestleMania anyway. Like at that time, he already made his decision. Then the Miz comes out, and what I love about what Miz announced, right, dude? Like I kind of see their strategy where it's like, okay, they're trying to like force Del Rio to stay on SmackDown, and make say like, oh, Edge is like telling you this, that, and the other thing, which is not even true anyway. It's like they're actually insulting him, but making it be like, oh, Edge really said that, so that way just in case Del Rio said he wanted to go on Raw, which everybody thought that he was going to do in the first place because he's been making a lot of appearances on Raw lately,
That's what I liked about the part where The Miz came out and then Edge came out. I like that, we know most of the time if a SmackDown guy is going to win the Royal Rumble or a Raw guy is going to win the Royal Rumble, they're going to go for the main title on each show. But with that segment, it kind of at least like, okay, we're going to make an effort to suspend belief and be like, oh, maybe he might challenge Miz. I mean, I obviously called it's going to be Edge, but, I like that they put the effort forth.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, what does Del Rio have on Raw that would benefit him, It's like the only people that he fought on Raw was, I think, R-Truth and somebody else.
I thought he fought Mark Henry at one point, but I might be wrong.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, if I bet money on that show when I was watching it, I was like, oh, he's going to go for Edge. I mean, it's obvious. But I did like that they put the effort forth to be like, hey, he might do that. So it wasn't just, like, doing the obvious. They did the obvious eventually in the end of that segment, but they still...
They hinted, like, they were going to, like, move him back on Raw since he was, like, showing up more on Raw anyway.
I did like the effort they put forth, but I kind of wish they would have kept it going for at least a week. Like, say, oh, I'm not going to tell you just yet. I'm still thinking. I might go for you. I might go for you. Like, let it go for a week.
Just to like make it more of a roller coaster where it's like, oh, I can do it. Which one to go to? So I think if they could have drawn it out for one more week, not be ridiculous and do it for 2 weeks, but just one more week, I think you would bring up a good plan.
Because let me tell you, if I won the Royal Rumble and got to choose what title I would go to, I would be maybe the most indecisive motherfucker.
Yeah, on one hand, you want the belt that looks like the WCW Championship. On the other hand, one of the belt means more in the company than the other one does.
Yeah, but it still looks like a spinner. I mean, they still haven't gotten rid of like that design after John Cena lost the belt. So it's like, what's the point of still having the spinner belt?
Well, obviously, John Cena is their main guy, so they're going to keep that aesthetic.
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's just say, hypothetically, that it's John Morrison that wins the Elimination Chamber, and he goes to face Miz in WrestleMania. If they are trying to get to a point where they're, like, moving John Cena away from the title, then, again, more reason to change the belt design, Well,
I think they usually wait till after WrestleMania to announce, but to debut a new design for a belt? Because I remember when Austin first won the belt at WrestleMania 14, the next night afterwards, Vince gave him the new belt. So I think there could be a chance if they're moving John Cena, if they're going to make an effort to move John Cena away from the main event picture, that they could debut the new belt.
I'm hoping they do change the belt because every time I look at that thing, it looks so gaudy. It's so overblown. It's got a lot of sharp points on it. It looks like it'll gash you open if you hit it.
That's probably why Randy Orton was the champion. He dragged on the floor because he didn't want to poke his eye out when, like, putting it around his waist or, like, over his shoulder like he used to do it, ttoo.
Yeah, and then going on with the rest of that segment, after the JBL burn, Edge comes out, and Edge is, like, doing the standard, I'm the cool face, so I tell you, I insult you in front of him, which he did, insulted right in front of Del Rio's face, and then makes the announcements going for Edge, and God, I gotta tell you, did anyone see the guitar hit? It didn't even look like it hit him in the arm on one angle. Well, when they first shot the angle, they shot it from the other side of the ring on the ramp side. Doesn't even look like it hits him. It looks like it hits the elbow. But when you see it from the back, which they did on SmackDown, it totally looks like it hit him in the arm.
I think it was aiming for the arm because, he's got the cross arm break, so it makes sense to hit a guy in the arm with something.
Right, it makes sense to hit a guy in the arm, but I think he was supposed to try to hit him in the shoulder because when you put on an arm bar, the entire arm hurts, but most of the pressure is on the socket, so it'd make more sense if he hit, the shoulder.
I'm surprised they actually let him use the guitar on Edge in the first place, because then again, it's like, well, maybe it's like attacking Jeff Jarrett, a little bit.
It's like it's stepping on Jeff Jarrett's territory a little bit, but at the same time, if Jeff Jarrett actually want to openly complain about that, WWE anytime could be like, we have the Hardcore Justice on tape. We could easily beat you in court with just that evidence alone. Do you really want to start something?
I've got a really stupid mental picture in my head now of this TNA being represented by a little guy who's like, hey, that's my thing, you can't do that. In WWE, it's like this big hulking giant guy, and he's like, you want to start something?
Anyway, moving on with the rest of the show, then we go into the tag match, which was Santino and Kozlov versus the Nexus, Husky Harris and Joe Henning. Oh, sorry, Michael McGillicuddy.
At first it looked like the Nexus was really out for a threat because they defeated them the first time in a non-title match, and it's like, I thought they were really going to get the titles like this time.
Nexus is heel heat completely died for me in terms of the tag team division when, they won the belts.
Well, first of all, what division? Right. I mean, the tag team division, let's face it, is pretty much dead in the WWE. I'm surprised, they're still, keeping it around, and even when they do, they just make completely, obscure tag teams that you would never, ever even see in a million years, like Mark Henry and Yoshitatsu. What the hell?
But at the same time, they're still a division. I'm just saying they're still a division, even though it's a sad division.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mere shadow of what it used to be with the British Bulldogs, and then the Hart Foundation, and et cetera, bring up any classic team you want to. But it's a mere shadow compared to that, but there is still a division, even though it's poor.
Yeah, I pretty much went into this one pretty much knowing how it was going to end, because I don't see them putting the belts on Harris and McGillicuddy anytime soon until those guys learn to work on it. I'm still shocked that Slater and Gabriel got the belts back several months ago during the whole Nexus thing, because those guys, I'm actually starting to warm up to Slater and Gabriel. They've gotten a lot better since NXT, but Harris and McGillicuddy, they just don't really have it just yet.
During the match, I took the notes about this. Joe Henning McGillicuddy. Now I'm calling him Joe Henning. I don't care. Joe Henning had great in-ring chemistry with Santino. He was doing very good with Kozlov, but every time Husky Harris was tagged in, that's when the match dragged, man. Husky really needs to work on his in-ring skills because that guy is not exciting at all.
And he needs to get in shape. I don't care if his name is Husky. You can't get in a wrestling ring with a gut like that. It's embarrassing.
Well, it could be worked like Bison Smith did it, but the thing was Bison Smith, who was a Ring of Honor guy for a short bit of time, he was a guy with a huge gut, but he was conditioned enough where he could perform in the ring. Husky doesn't have that same quality, I feel.
Well, anywho, like after the tag match, it's like Randy Orton comes and he just like clears house.
And that brought back the excitement because that match dragged for a long period of time, and then you're just like, oh, it's over. Because when you have a television show, you should at least make the first match, not exciting, but really just like it's going to get the excitement and momentum going for the rest of the night. And this one dragged, but then Orton comes down and hits the RKOs, and the fans are excited, and everyone's into it. And then he has to, I hear the voices in my head, I'm about to kick him, and I hate every time how he drags the punt on him. We know what's going to happen. And then you think he's about to kick him, Punk comes out, and Punk, I love his promos and everything like that, but it just made everything else drag. I mean, it would have been cooler if Punk would have came out and Punk said, don't do it, and then McGillicuddy comes out, and then as soon as Punk says that, Orton just like kicks Harris right in the head.
Yeah, where the hell was McGillicuddy anyway?
He kind of just fell out to the outside of the ring.
He got RKO'd, he was dead.
Yeah.
And he rolled under the ring, he didn't want to get punted.
I don't blame him.
Screw that.
Yeah, would you want to get kicked in the head by Randy Orton?
Okay, so then after Orton cleans house and then they come back for a commercial, Ted DiBiase Jr. comes out with Maurice, or the French-Canadian chick, you know who I'm talking about.
Maurice.
Maurice, I can't pronounce her name, I don't know. I apologize. Anyway, so they come out and DiBiase has a mic, and I'm like, oh god, he's gonna cut a promo. Head for the hills.
Yeah, that guy has been like in a downhill slope for like a long while. And you know what's funny is that the guy can do really good, like, you know, on like let's say Superstars. Like when he does matches on there, it's like he gives it his all, but when it comes to like Raw, it's like, you know, he doesn't do jack shit.
Like that match he had was Tyson Kidd. It was Tyson Kidd. We're gonna get to Tyson in a second. Don't worry, I've got that written down. It was Tyson Kidd and Ted DiBiase versus Mark Henry, Bryan Danielson. That match was great. Like everybody brought in their whole A game. They were doing fine. Everyone had good spots. Everyone looked strong. That match was awesome. Why couldn't you see that?
Which makes me wonder why, you know, the WWE has like a problem with like putting that kind of quality on like their A shows instead of just like moving it to their B shows.
Right. You know? SmackDown always beats Raw in terms of putting their matches together because they don't really focus too much on the Hollywood aspect in the backstage segment. They do, but it's very well paced because they have matches in there.
Yeah, my thoughts on Ted DiBiase. He's good under the right circumstances. He's gotten a lot better. Like, I was kind of digging him in Legacy last year, and his singles work since then, it was a bit lacking, I thought, but lately he's actually been pretty good on Superstars when I've been watching. But
totally.
Oh, yeah. But and I think with the right opponent, it's really the right opponent that can bring it out in him. Like you were mentioning the Bryan Danielson match. I remember their match from Survivor Series. It was really good. I really enjoyed that.
That was a good match. It wasn't as good as Ziggler versus Danielson, but it was still damn good. That was a good quality match.
His work started on an upwards climb at the end of last year. It started at bragging rights when he had that match with Goldust, which was awesome. And then, from there, it just kept getting better and better, and now he's not doing anything, except for on Superstars.
So he cuts the promo about, Jerry Lawler, you're old, blah, 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 this, that. You can't give me your spot in the match. You know, the standard, I'm a douche promo, give me your spot. And then as soon as... It cut too much time because I thought, Jerry the King Lawler was going to cut a promo, then fake shove and punch him out. But then, no, Michael Cole has to get on his jock, too. And the thing was, Michael Cole's been insulting him, and then in this part of the show, now I'm going to praise Jerry the King Lawler. What's up with that?
Yeah, it starts out where he's like, this man has accomplished more than you have in your entire career, and then it goes on, and it's like, and he is too selfish to give up his spot.
The one thing I didn't like about those two harping on each other, Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler never had a world title in the WWE, but he was like, you've never held a title in your historic career, and I know it's supposed to show Cole's ignorance, and then it's supposed to be insulting, but it makes Cole look stupid because Jerry Lawler won more titles than any other wrestler currently working today. He's held way more titles in other promotions, Jerry the King Lawler, than any other wrestler working.
How many times was he NWA champion?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but he's had that belt.
But anywho, it's like, and then Jerry, like, has the mic, and he's like, I'm gonna show you all, and I don't know what he said exactly, but then it's like, DiBiase starts, like, getting on King's case by, like, harassing him, and then, like, King goes to beat the crap out of DiBiase, and then he grabs Maurice and uses her as a shield.
And Maurice is like, please, Jerry, please, oh my God.
God.
Because they have so much time, if they would have had, instead of having Michael suck up to Jerry the King Lawler and then do the swerve and he's being condescending to Jerry, just have Jerry stood up, slug Ted, and then Ted gets fallen back, and as soon as Jerry tries to deliver the knockout blow, that's when he uses Matrice as the shield, and then Matrice kicks him in the balls, slaps him, and then Jerry goes out the knockout blow.
Here's the thing, though. It's like, after Maurice slaps the shit out of DiBiase, which she rightfully had to, because, what kind of guy really does that to a woman, you know what I mean? Unless he's like a chicken shit heel, which he seems like he's trying to be. But since I'm the only one that saw it, NXT, like, DiBiase has a match with, I forget who he was fighting, but then Maurice shows up out of nowhere. And I thought, like, at Raw, the DiBiase and Maurice thing was, like, over, but apparently not, because now Maurice is, like, flirting with, like, all the other announcers, like, Todd Grissom and Josh Matthews host NXT Season 4 now. Mm-hmm. And Maurice was coming out there, and she was, like, flirting with, like, those two announcers, like, giving Todd her phone number, her supposed phone number. And, like, Josh is like, give me the phone number. I want to call to see if it's real. And then there was, it's like, like, he was, like, trying to beg Todd to, like, give her the phone number, but, like, he wouldn't give it to her. And then there was, like, 1 minute, like, before the end of the match was, like, Maurice actually kissed Todd Grissom. And that's when DiBiase was like, what the hell are you doing? And why do you care about Maurice when she just slapped the shit out of you? I mean, why are you still going to continue with this shit? You know what I mean?
Because he's the guy with money who expects the French prostitute, because that's what Matrice is, the French prostitute to stick with him no matter what, because he has the bling.
Yeah, they've been teasing this breakup for, months now?
Yeah, like like a few Raws ago, like she was like flirting with Michael Cole, and then when even one episode of Raw where it's like she flips the shit out of Michael Cole for like.
I think that was the one where she's like, that's not how you pronounce my name, you idiot. Yeah, but that was like way before.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why I can't remember.
So then, getting off on that tangent, so Jerry the King Lawler knocks him out, and then the mystery promo happens. We all seen it.
The quote-unquote either the one that people are confused either with Undertaker or Sting that's making their presence on 221.
Right, and let's talk about that for a moment, because I feel as though the promo did a great job of just hyping it up, because it didn't give anything away too much. It let in their hints. Just subtle little hints like, okay, it's scary, so it could be The Undertaker. Wait a minute, it's a trench coat.
Here's why I don't think it's The Undertaker. Because after the Buried Alive match he had with Kane,
he went to heaven.
Exactly, he went to heaven. So if that promo was really for The Undertaker, what the hell happened in heaven that now he's wound out back inside in the middle of the night in the woods in a rainy day inside a log cabin?
Here's WWE's answer to that. You think too hard.
Cowboy-themed Undertaker. I demand it.
They did American Badass, they can do a cowboy.
I'd love to see that.
Wasn't American Badass and Cowboy pretty much the same thing?
No, he was more like a white trash biker.
Yeah, like, who knows? I guess we'll just have to wait to see and find out, because it's like, it's not even that far away anyway. It's like, after, is it before or after Elimination Chamber?
After.
Oh, okay.
We move on to the Tyson Kidd versus Bryan Danielson match. And they tried to build that feud up, but the problem was, we all saw it at the Rumble, Tyson Kidd's career officially died in the WWE.
Dear God. When there's a tape of you up on a midget's shoulders, getting thrown around, how do you even show your face in public after that?
Well, it wasn't just, let's be fair, it wasn't just Tyson Kidd. It was like Heath Slater that got the double 10 knuckle shovel.
Well, getting punched by a midget and getting thrown by a midget are two different things. Like, I've been punched by a midget. Don't ask.
Dear Penthouse. You'll never believe what happened to me.
I got punched in the crotch by a midget.
I paid her the money. I don't know what happened.
Again, he got beat up by Cena, and then they both punched him. That's one thing. But again, it was actually impressive for Hornswoggle that he was actually able to lift him up. But just seeing that, I honestly cannot take Tyson Kidd seriously as a wrestler anymore after that.
Yeah. So this match had everything going for it. Okay, let's pretend, and this is what I do to deal with that. Let's pretend that Royal Rumble moment never happened. Let's pretend that moment never happened. This feud had everything going for him. Bryan Danielson, somebody who the crowd likes and respects. Tyson Kidd, a technically sound wrestler who was trained by the Hearts. This could have been an awesome feud that was just that was just two guys being themselves technical wrestling. And then that happened and killed everything. This match had everything going for it. But yeah, Kidd's career died in Royal Rumble, and then the match wasn't just focusing on being a match; it was focusing on developing the plot between the Bellas and Bryan Danielson.
It was basically an interview match because, first off, the match was way too short.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it was over a minute. It might have been over a minute, but not
it was
by
like
much.
3 minutes tops.
Okay, 3 minutes tops. But even so, most of the time the camera was on the Bellas at the announce table.
It sucked that match was only used as a vessel to develop a plot. I mean, yeah, it doesn't happen before, and technically when you really look at it, all matches are just schemes to develop plot, but at the same time, it's like, God damn it. But then afterwards, the cat fight ensues, and I gotta say, for a PG cat fight, it was pretty good.
Well, it was basically just them pulling hair. Not really much happened, except for like a few kicking when they were getting pulled out, but that was about it.
The cat fights, you don't really need it to be amazing.
Well, you got Gail Kim. I mean, come on. You think like she would have put like some kind of effort, just like beat the crap out of both of those like toothpicks. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but WWE. Those two toothpicks can easily beat up Katie Lee Burchill, but they'll take women who are legitimate threats and then have them lose to Mitrice or the Bellas or Alicia Fox. I mean, Alicia Fox was booked as a credible threat. But one moment of the match I did really like, though, was when Bryan Danielson locked in the LaBelle lock. He first, it looked like it was straight up, because Bryan Danielson trained in jiu-jitsu, so this was straight up out of a jiu-jitsu playbook. He locks in, and I thought he was going to go, I honestly thought when he first lifted up his leg, he was going to go for the triangle choke, but then his legs lock onto Tyson's shoulders, and then he takes him down, rolls it back, and then gets him in the LaBelle lock crossface, and it was great.
Yeah, it was a really good finish to the match.
If they would have given that match more time and finished on that, that would have been the match of the night.
Well, that goes back to the whole, DiBiase thing, where it's like, they put good matches on superstars, but they won't give the same effort on Raw. And, especially when they put on stupid shit, like, I think it's come out next. What was it? The Usos, and then Mark Henry and the Great Khali.
I vote that worst match of the night. I vote that worst match of the night.
It wasn't even a match.
It's worst match of the year so far.
That's how bad it was. What happened was, Khali and Mark Henry come out, and already that spells doom. And then we see the Usos get another jobbing entrance, and the looks on their faces are just like, this is going to suck. This is going to suck.
Well, I love how, the anonymous general manager, beeps in right before the match, and he's like, the Usos, yeah, you have no chance. So we're going to make this in dance-off. Here, have fun.
That's like something you shouldn't even do. Like, have the guy who's running the show just come out and say, hey, guys, you suck. You don't bury wrestlers completely on the air.
Oh, and then it wasn't a match. They called it a dance-off.
I didn't even watch that part. The second I heard the words dance-off, I just hit... This is what you heard on my TV. And it's a dance-off. Commercials.
Thank you, DVRs. So then it goes down to a fight. Usos are getting their asses kicked because, yeah, if Usos winning anything, that's too high of a concept. Gets their asses kicked. Khali goes for a pin, and the referee even says, dude, not a match. It's not a match.
I remember that.
Khali went for a fucking pin in a dance-off.
I heard about that. I went back and looked at that.
Yeah. And the bad thing was, that wasn't even the worst part of the show. And then they played the trailer for that awful movie, The Chaperone.
That's another fast-forward moment.
I watched that entire trailer just because I hated myself.
What is that movie trying to be exactly?
That's the biggest problem.
It's Triple H saying, "Hey, I have power in this company."
It starts off, it's a serious drama. I want to get to know my daughter. And then I'm the cool hip dad who's going to be the guy, and that's how I'm going to win over my daughter. And then the guy from Grounded for Life and some other dude, I don't know who it is, shows up. And then suddenly, it's a movie with an action adventure. And then, it's a silly family romp. Oh, no, it's a feel-good family movie. And then, no, it's a kid's movie. What the fuck?
It's like the movie has ADD.
Exactly. I have ADD, and I'm not even that bad.
Miz versus Edge.
They had another champion versus champion match, which is like pointless because it's like that's the third time they've had it, like in the course of 1 month, and it's like that. You think something like that would be like a pay-per-view event, but they treat it like, champion versus champion, and then
Okay, it wasn't as good as Miz versus Morrison, but it was still a good match and good effort from both of the guys, but it wasn't that exciting.
Well, the thing was that they had to have a winner because I think SmackDown was a DQ or something like that.
Yeah, the last 2 times they did it ended in a DQ with somebody getting involved.
But wouldn't that make it? But Sam G's right. That would have made a good pay-per-view moment just to have those guys. Like say they had they had 2 matches and then there was always a DQ and then the third match would be a pay-per-view.
I say hype it up some and let these guys really go out there and give it their all. Put on one hell of a match.
Yeah,
I think
like add a stipulation like an Iron Man match or a Last Man Standing match or something like that.
I think Last Man Standing match would be better for the two because with like a Iron Man match, they're good wrestlers. They're good wrestlers. They're solid, but they're not really solid enough for an Iron Man match. That's for somebody else. But a Last Man Standing match, that's perfect for Edge and Miz.
Yeah, the thing I was trying to bring up was that. Yeah, Morrison deserves to go to WrestleMania and face The Miz, but they are so obviously setting up for John Cena. 4 out of the 5 past years, he's won the title at WrestleMania. And he's feuding with The Miz now because Miz screwed him out of the Royal Rumble. And then during his match with Edge, he gets up in the crowd and he starts going, Miz!
Oh, yeah!
Miz!
That was fun.
Hey, man, how you doing, Miz? Yeah, John Cena is funny when they let him.
And that was the part where Michael Cole was starting flipping his shit. Even got out of the table and
he's
just
like,
yelled.
I'm gonna go check on Miz right now.
Just yelling at Alex Riley, going, "What the hell is your problem? You should be going up there and kicking."
He was screaming at you, do something. You get up there and do something.
Alex was like, what the hell do you want me to do? He's kicked my ass many times.
Yeah, if they just taught him how to wrestle and how to put on a better show and not.
He can wrestle though. That's the thing.
He can, but they don't let him.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Presentation's a problem. They don't let him present. Like, when he had that match with Punk, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
No. Nothing will ever top the first time he appeared on SmackDown with Kurt Angle. When he made his first appearance. He cannot top that unless, they let him do whatever he wants to do. But they're obviously withholding him from doing, like, certain moves and stuff. Like, rarely will you ever see him do anything risky. Like, when there was this one time where they had him do an attitude adjustment from the top rope. I think it was against Randy Orton or Wade Barrett. I forget who it was, but they only had him do it one time, and then after that they were like, no, we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't want him to get hurt, and they want to book him to look like Superman. They want him to be a superhero for the kids. That's the main problem. And
even when he does get hurt, like when that whole thing with CM Punk and Wade Barrett, first of all, I was surprised that they actually brought up the match that in, what was it, Pennsylvania?
It was a Pennsylvania house show.
Yeah, I'm surprised they even brought up the house show to begin with because they rarely ever do that. They usually relate injuries to something that happened on either like Raw or SmackDown, depending on what superstar it is. But
if they had an injury, they put it on SmackDown and just like a backstage segment, he got jumped.
Right, exactly. So, it's like, I'm surprised they brought that up, number one. Number two, when he was out, everybody, all the announcers and everybody was like, John Cena, and he's going to appear soon, and John Cena via satellite. It's like the guy cannot stay away for like one show, or otherwise...
Wasn't that also the night they had that Chic Pro Glide commercial? Shave your face or John Cena will shave it for you.
Oh, yeah.
And they played it like 50 times.
I forgot about that.
That's an image. I'm peeing, and then all of a sudden John Cena, what's up? You can't see me. Ah!
I'd like to think that's how John Cena shaves every morning when he wakes up. Just goes into the bathroom, throws everything around, like, yeah! I'm gonna shave my face!
You can't see me! My time is now! Shave. Eve Torres and Natty Hart versus, yes, I refuse to call her Natalia. She's Natty Hart. It was Eve Torres and Natty Hart versus Lay Cool. And that was not a bad match.
Well, first of all, here's the thing, though. It's like, why is the person that lost the title teaming up with the person that took the title away from her to begin with?
Right, story-wise, it's stupid, but match-wise, it was good. Story-wise, it was a mess.
Yeah, if I was Natalia, I'd probably be pissed at Eve Torres, especially after Eve lost that match. I'd probably, it'd be a heel thing to do, and Natty's not a heel, but I probably would have beaten the shit out of Eve Torres.
Yeah, story-wise, it's a mess, but like I said, match quality, it was not bad because everybody did what they were supposed to. Natty was made to look strong. Michelle did the ring work as always for Lay Cool, and then Layla did a good job of being a cowardly heel.
Well, here's two things that I think is going on with the Divas division. Number one, I think after they gave that title between Melina and Natalia on free TV on the last Raw before the Royal Rumble. I think that's what fucked up the whole women's division as far as storyline goes. And then and then number two was the whole hype between Awesome Kong. It's nobody knows when she's gonna appear, and nobody knows if she's going to appear in the first place. So it makes you think okay, are they just letting the Divas division go until they actually can come up with an idea to do something? Because I've noticed a pattern with WWE. It's if they don't have a storyline, they just put the Divas in random tag matches and just have them feud for 2-3 minutes, and then that's it. Not just followed up on that.
Or one of the girls is a valet, or there's some romantic thing going on.
Right. But it's I think it's they're getting to the point where it's they wanna book the women as a threat, but at the same time it's half of their roster can't wrestle.
Oh, well, that's the truth, right?
So it's what do you do with them,
That's the truth, and I attribute that to turning PG. Hear me out. Basically, it's for a long period of time, there's always in the WWE roster women, not always, but let's say past Attitude Era. From Attitude Era on, there's always for every good wrestler they had, there was always somebody who was terrible. But the people who are terrible can get by having shitty matches as long as they can pose for magazines in scantily clad clothing.
No, hold on. They haven't dressed less since that one Raw episode where it was a beach bikini match and Kozlov and Santino Santino was a ref and I think Kozlov was in it too, but they were both posing as
refs.
Yeah,
how that works.
As lifeguards and shit. And that was the last time you ever saw those divas in less dressed than bikinis and shit. But other than that, they're usually in their wrestling gear.
And that gets me into my point because when it turned PG, they couldn't do those photo shoots anymore where it was really, really hot, and obviously we know what demographic we're going to. So when they really thought about it, they're like, when we hired fitness models, it seemed like a good idea because we can put them in those magazines, the Divas specials and all of that, and, we could obviously Google at them, but, they can't wrestle.
If they know that, why don't they fire the guy that's been hiring all these women in the first place?
Well, that's because it doesn't make too much sense. Why fire Laurinaitis when he's been booking things poorly? Obviously in a logical world, WWE right now would have a booker and everything would be planned out. Problem is, logic doesn't exist within this realms. So, that's how Laurinaitis got away with that one. So, the women couldn't dress up, and the women who couldn't wrestle couldn't dress up anymore, so we had to put them in the ring, and then that's when we started to discover they really do suck.
But then you got the celeb feud, Beth Phoenix, who shows that she can actually go, Natalia, who shows that she can actually go, Gail Kim, who's still being held back, and they have no idea what to do with him except for the Daniel Bryan situation, which I think is kind of a step up, but at the same time it's still stupid. You got Melina, who she was doing fine until she got screwed out of the title shot, and then it's I guess Lay Cool's okay.
Well, Michelle's the main worker in that. She's not that good, but she's good enough to put on a match and do the moves and sell. And then Layla is the comedic, psychic, cowardly best friend. So they do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, Michelle McCool has improved quite a bit since I last remember seeing her, but Layla, I don't get Layla at all. And does Layla have an accent, or does she just have a really bad speech impediment? I can't tell. She's British?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I did not.
Well, now you know.
And knowledge is power.
Yeah. Anyway, Raw Roman match was good. Everybody was able to show off their spots, look strong, and I think it did what it's supposed to do. It put on a good match. I just wish all the matches that night that were booked for Raw had the same amount of effort put towards it.
R-Truth, John Morrison, King Sheamus, Randy Orton, John Cena, and Jerry King Lawler.
Let's talk about the high spots because Morrison was on fire that night.
Oh man, Morrison was crazy in this match. I mean, even Josh Matthews was on commentary. It's like, how do you even eliminate this guy? He just keeps hanging on. That
was so awesome. I mean, it was an exhibition show of his parkour, but he was doing good. Like when he reversed out of the attitude adjustment, landed right on his feet, jumped on the middle rope, and then did an insecurity to John Cena. That was the shit. I actually stood up and clapped when that moment happened. And then there's a spot he gets thrown out of the ring, and he was able to catch his feet he was able to catch his toes right on the rope and then pull himself back in.
Well, the guy obviously has like upper body strength because you see like his muscles on the stomach and shit. And it's like the guy is ripped. You know what I mean? Yeah, so obviously he's been doing this for like a really long time. Even even probably like before his Tough Enough appearance, which was like years ago.
He said on Tough Enough appearance, he was in high school, he was in charge of the gymnastics team, and then he was also a break dancer, and then he got in the parkour. So that guy was like sound. In terms of doing spots like that guy did that way before he ever wanted to be in wrestling. Mm-hmm. So he's already sound. And that match was like, okay, I didn't mind the ending, but wow, it was great. Like Morrison was on fire, and I hope he gets to the WrestleMania moment and wins the title.
Randy Orton got eliminated first, and then what was it? R-Truth got eliminated next or something?
It was Randy Orton got eliminated first.
Randy eliminated CM Punk first.
Oh, right, CM Punk. And then Randy Orton got eliminated by R-Truth. And then I think R-Truth was the next to go. And then John Morrison was the next to go. And then it was like between The King, John Cena, and Sheamus.
Right.
Who, by the way, that crown is retarded. I don't care what anyone says.
That's what I don't like about King of the Ring. King of the Ring used to mean something. It used to be that you won King of the Ring, you get a WWE title shot at SummerSlam. Now, it doesn't mean anything. You get to add King to your name, which
I think that whole King of the Ring Raw episode was like kind of stupid in a way because I think it was getting to the fact where it's like they had no idea what to do with Sheamus in the first place. So it was like, oh, let's make him the King. And I thought at that point they were like, oh, I know what they're going to do. They're going to be like the King versus the King of Kings, Triple H, and they're going to feud. But then obviously Triple H didn't appear on the Royal Rumble, so it's like, oh, well, that was kind of pointless. So what do we do with quote-unquote King Sheamus now? You know?
That would make too much sense. I mean, I honestly thought that's what they were going to do, but my hopes were dashed and logic once again lost in that war.
Like I said, everybody thought that John Cena was going to win this, and then he doesn't get thrown out. He gets bumped out by the King when Sheamus pushes the King into John Cena, and that's when everybody was like, oh shit, is King really going to win this? And then it's you see Sheamus going towards the King, and then when King pulled down the rope, John Cena helped him out too. So it was oh shit, the King actually won this, and Cole is just flipping his shit. He's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, yeah. You're lucky. You got 2 weeks and Miz is gonna kill you. You know what? Miz is gonna have a day off that night. That's the good thing about this. He's gonna have a day off.
He was even going off about this on SmackDown, but I'm assuming we'll get to that.